Hello, American Patriots. Welcome to a special episode of the Ducote Show. If you're joining us for the first time, typically we are Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time. But because of the election yesterday and the debacle that it is at the moment, I decided to jump on in and do a special episode of the show to talk about where we stand right now. It's, this election is typical 2020. This is no different than everything else that's happened this year that is absolutely different than the history of American politics or everything else that happens throughout America this year, from the hurricanes, the rioting, the forest fires, Antifa, BLM, you name it, defunding cops. The list of craziness is skyrocketing. And, what did you expect? Did you expect it to be different? I didn't. I expected exactly what's happening. I expected it was going to be kind of close. I followed both candidates very closely. As you know, I follow Trump on a regular basis. Joe Biden. I've talked about him in the past numerous times about how I feel he is mentally. And I want to say something right up the front here. I'm not as concerned with Joe Biden being president of the United States if it comes to that, and we're not there yet. But if it did come to that, Joe Biden, from past experience, from what we know of him from years and years and years in government, will lead center to center right. He is not a far left liberal Democrat like many that are there in the new progressives. My fear is his vice president, Kamala Harris, or however you want to pronounce her name. It is my firm belief that Joe Biden is a temporary figurehead until they can determine that he's not capable of running the country any longer, and the Democrats themselves remove him. Put her in his place as the first female president of the United States. And what does that make Nancy Pelosi? It makes her the vice president. And then our country will become what many of us have been warning, a socialist country. And it will, as we know it, no longer be the same. That's been my biggest fear. I can tell you this much. Regardless of who gets the 270 electoral votes and wins this, doesn't matter if you want Trump to win or you want Biden to win, either one, listen to me. The sun will still come up the following day. We will still continue to fight, regardless of who the president is, Republican or Democrat, or left liberal. This whole thing with Biden being selected by the Democrat Party to go up against Trump was to set Kamala Harris up. You cannot make me believe that with all the nasty things that she said about Joe Biden when they were going through their debates to see who was going to be selected, all the nasty and horrible things, that he would select her. This isn't his doings. Now, you may recall, a lot of it slipped under the radar. I didn't talk much about it. I didn't get an opportunity to because of the two hurricanes we got hit with back to back. But Nancy Pelosi put forth an amendment to where Congress would easily be able to remove a sitting president based off of any type of mental illness. And here's the small paperwork, the small print to that. It didn't include President Trump. It included from after his presidency on. Now, why would she do that? Well, I firmly believe it's because they have no plans on Joe Biden making it for 4 years, much less 8 years. Let's see what's happening real quick. Let me check out a message I'm getting. It says it keeps cutting in and out. Something is wrong with your audio. Well, go figure. It's 2020. And the fact that I'm still here right now on YouTube is amazing. Just today, YouTube unsubscribed 700. Let me make sure I get the number right here. Because this is just freaking absolutely batshit crazy when I saw this. 731 people got unsubscribed today. Every day, they're unsubscribing 100 plus and they're destroying this YouTube channel. Twitter's banned me for life. Facebook's put me back in jail again for sharing the truth. They want to squash our voice. They're doing one hell of a great job of it, aren't they? So now that I've assured you that the sun will still rise regardless of who wins, let's talk about what I watched happen last night. Some of you may have picked up on this as well. I'm sure you did. And it leads us to where we're at right now. As we got close to the midnight hour, President Trump was heading to victory. The 270 was clear. Let's talk about how clear it was that President Trump was going to get 270. It was so clear that Van Jones on CNN was preparing the viewers that Trump was going to be in for 4 more years. He was already talking about how Joe Biden blew this. Now, Van Jones is not a Trump supporter. Several other CNN people last night chimed in and agreed with Van that Trump was going to be the next president once all the rest of these votes are finished being counted. And then what happened? We were waiting on Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Nevada, Georgia. That was basically what was going to give Trump the White House again. And I'll be damned if all of a sudden in the Democrat-run states, they were done counting for the night. They needed to get rest. They were going to go home and start all over the next day, today. Some of them were encouraged to keep working throughout the night. A few did. But then we started hearing not only did Democrats start shutting down the vote for the night where they were losing, it was like in lockstep with everything CNN was saying. What do we do now? We must stop this and figure out how to move forward to give this to the president. I take you back to 2 days ago when Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, the governor, said, and I quote, we will deliver Pennsylvania to Joe Biden. Yep. Now, throughout last night, And then today, it became even clearer the corruption that was happening in different locations. For instance, Wisconsin appears to be in the Biden column. Here's a fact. There are 3,129,000 registered voters in Wisconsin. Yet 3,289,146 votes have been counted. Explain to me how that's possible. Anyone of any party? It's not. Somehow there's voter fraud taking place in Wisconsin. Arizona. And I don't have all the details on this. I've watched a couple of videos on it. And even after hearing the people describe what they experienced in Arizona last night, I still don't gather exactly what went down. But it appears that they had special pins that they wanted people to use in how they cast their votes. I believe it was an electronic thing. You had to touch like we have here in Louisiana. And if you had your own pin, they wouldn't let you use it. They would take it away from you and give you their pin. And the pin that they gave you, when you clicked on or any of the Republicans that were running for Senator, White House, running for the House, or whichever the case may be, it didn't register. I mean, it went through, but at the last second, you saw it disappear. Now, more to come with that. I know that law enforcement was called in the middle of that scenario. I don't know what their outcome was. Let me check this again real quick. Hold on. This would be my wife letting me know I can't hear you. The internet's cutting in and out. Go fucking figure. I'm trying to maintain full dignity here. And YouTube's doing everything in their power to stop it from happening. So be it. I'm going to continue on, and we leave it at that. So, where do we stand? Well, that keeps changing. Prior to coming on the air tonight, basically, Trump had 214 electoral votes. He needs Georgia. That's 16. He needs North Carolina. That's 15. That puts him at 245. Then he has to have Pennsylvania. That puts him at 265, which I think they've already got Joe up to at the moment, which means he still needs Wisconsin or Nevada. Either one would put him over 270. Now, let's back up. As we approached the midnight hour last night, Democrats, and I was flipping back and forth between CNN, Fox, MSNBC, trying to see where everybody was at. Fox News was pissing me off. I was just like beyond myself with that program last night. It was very difficult to watch them, as they almost appeared joyous that Trump might not get reelected. But hold on a second. As they approached, as we got closer to midnight, the Democrats kept saying, when they realized Trump was going to get the 270, because he was ahead in Pennsylvania, he was ahead in North Carolina, he was ahead in Georgia, he was ahead in Wyoming. He had it. He had the path there. CNN's already saying he's going to get this. Then the other CNN talking heads and MSNBC and even Fox News was saying every vote counts. We should not call this until every single vote gets counted. That's what the Democrats were saying last night. We must stop this. Don't call any state until every vote gets counted. What are they saying today? Fuck it. No, they don't want that today. No, they don't want every vote to get counted. Because now they realize that, hey, now all of a sudden, by waiting overnight, we found more votes for Joe Biden. So Trump stepped in and said, or his lawyers, that we're going to intervene. Because you can't have it both ways, Democrats. Pick one. Either you want all the votes to be counted, or you don't want all the votes to be counted. Because if we go with what you're saying today, don't count them all, then at midnight last night, the votes should be stopped. The election's done. And if you then add at midnight last night, where Trump was leading, guess what? He goes over 270 and becomes 4 more years of the president. Well, they shut that down real quick, didn't they? Michigan. Gretchen Whitmer, Democrat. Shut the vote down. Governor of Wisconsin, Tony Evers, Democrat. Stop counting votes. Governor of Pennsylvania, Tom Wolf, Democrat. Well, can't count votes anymore. Governor of North Carolina, Roy Cooper, Democrat. Nah, can't give this to Trump. Nevada, Steve Sisolak, Sisolak, however you pronounce that, Democrat. Same thing. So, I don't want to throw any conspiracy theorist stuff out there. That's not what I'm about. But what I'm telling you is this isn't over with. It may take a while. It may take days. It may take weeks. This may end up going all the way to the Supreme Court like it did when George Bush Jr. was running against Al Gore. And we ended up with these, I don't know if you guys remember the Chads that was happening, but we may end up right there again. Now, let's take a moment real quick and look at where we're standing currently with the Electoral College. And let me tell you where I'm getting my information from. Because if you look at CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, Yahoo, you're going to get different numbers. Now, who has been very, let's say, proactive and censoring conservative voices? Facebook. They've done me many times. So let's look at what Facebook is putting out right this moment at 8:20 p.m. Central Time. They have Joe Biden at 243 and Trump at 214. They have Georgia too close to call. If we go look at Georgia, this is how close it is. With 96.2% votes counted, Donald Trump is 49.8 and Joe Biden is 49.0. There's 0.8 difference at the moment in Georgia. We need those 16 electoral votes. Period. All right, let's look at North Carolina. Once again, we have Donald Trump leading for 15 electoral votes. 96.6% of the votes are counted. Donald Trump's at 50.1%. Joe Biden's at 48.7%. Let's go up here and look at Pennsylvania. Right now, 89% of the votes in. It's 20 electoral votes that we need. Donald Trump's ahead, 50.9 to Joe Biden's 47.8. Let's go look at Wisconsin. 99% counted. Joe Biden 49.4 and Donald Trump 48.8. That's not what it was at midnight last night, now was it? But when we wait so we can figure out what we need to do to squeak this in there, I'll be damned. Back out of that for a second. Let's go over here and look at Nevada. 85.5% of the vote is counted. It's only 6 electoral votes, but it means something right now. Joe Biden's at 49.3, Donald Trump's at 48.7. I believe that as much as I believe I've got an extra hole in the back of my head. Let's go look at Arizona. Arizona has Biden up 50.7% to Donald Trump's 47.9 with 85.3% counted. That's 11 electoral votes right there. Arizona, we just did that. They got Biden 50.7 to Donald Trump's 47.9. And then last, we have Alaska, which they haven't even called yet. Although, and this is the funny thing about it, they don't call Alaska yet. It's only 3 electoral votes. 47% of the vote is all that's been counted in Alaska. Donald Trump's up 62.9 to Biden's 33.0. But nobody wants to call it. Maybe when you get 51% of the vote counted, it will. I don't know. What I do know is, as of tonight, it is highly possible that Donald Trump will retain 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, providing we find out what the hell's going on the ground in Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Nevada. And Trump has his attorneys, and they have their teams that are going out there as I speak to try and get to the bottom of this. So, last night, when Democrats realized they were losing and Trump was going to be the next president, even CNN was giving in to that idea. All of a sudden, in these Democrat states that mattered, they stopped what they were doing. They just stopped the count. Strange, isn't it? And then the Democrats said every single vote must count. I agree. But today they're thinking different. Wonder why that is. We still have literally millions of votes to be counted across the country that, for one reason or another, haven't been. Because after all these years of voting, we still haven't got it right in many states across America. It's still screwed up. Beyond screwed up. It's stupid. There's no reason for this. States should have, when it comes to mail-in voting and when it comes to early voting, do that shit weeks out to where at least a week prior to November 3rd, you're done. So they have time to count all that shit. And then all they have to worry about on the day of November 3rd is counting the in-person votes. Boom, it settles. It fixes the problem. Go figure. How easy is that shit? And if we went all electric, like we do here in Louisiana, well, damn, that fixes it too. You go in person, you go in a little booth, you touch who you want on the screen, it lights it up, you review it, you hit send. Done. Immediately counted. And we got places in America where you show up and they give you a ballot on paper and a freaking pencil, and you got to go through there and put shit down and then sign your name to it and turn that in. And it puts us where we're at right now. How can we fix this to where Joe Biden gets 270 and Trump doesn't? The fix is in, my friends. The Democrats are pulling out every stop they know. Now, let's take for a moment and say that, God forbid, Trump loses and Joe Biden becomes the next president of the United States of America. Again, listen to me closely. The world doesn't stop. We, conservatives, Republicans, have to be more proactive. We have to be able to get out there and reach the young voters, let the people know what's happening, expose the corruption, what we've already been doing. But the problem is, the best way of doing it is being taken away from us and stripped of us. And that is social media. Literally stripped from us. So, hopefully, in the near future, someone out there that's got millions or billions of dollars, I don't know, like maybe Trump, will put a little bit of that money towards a genius that can come up with social media platforms that will be better than YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and so forth, to where we can get our message out there and tell the rest of these son of a bitches where to go. And I'm going to check my phone one last time because once again, I'm being told your mic's not working. Your mic's off. Your mic's cracking. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know. Everything's hooked up right. Everything's working right. I got a great connection right now. Carrie, thanks for sharing that. She just shared the voting thing that's happening right now, and with the pen in Arizona. I watched that video, and I literally can't. I don't understand how it's working the way they're explaining it. So I go into more of that when I know more about it, but I watched that 2-minute, 28-second video, and it just doesn't add up to me. I don't know. I believe it. I believe that they experienced something that's not right, but I don't understand what they're saying. And I will look into that more, and hopefully I'll be able to figure that out. 2020. What do you expect? I bet you before the night's over with, CNN and MSNBC will call this for Joe Biden. When we still have literally millions of votes be counted. But yet, nope. We need to make sure Joe Biden gets this. So let's see how good Trump's lawyers are over the next few days. Don't panic. Don't give up. And again, and I can't stress this enough, in the event that Trump loses, we still move forward. We don't riot and burn down shit like the Democrats and the left do. We're better than they are. We don't start attacking people like the left and the Democrats do. That's not our MO. We regain, we rebuild, we become more knowledgeable, we share that information, and we get that information out there every way possible that we can. And again, the sun's going to come up regardless. You're still going to be able to go on vacation. You're going to get taxed. Joe Biden's going to tax the shit out of you. Guess what? He's going to shut the country down. You ain't going to be able to go anywhere or do anything for a while because of COVID. Military, if you're in the military, I'd get the fuck out right about now because your budget's fixing to get just cut in half. And your budget's going to go to all these socialist programs. If you're in law enforcement, I'm sorry. Find another job. Retire if you can, if you got the time in, because you're going to be defunded. The wall's going to come down. ICE is going to be disbanded. Customs, border security. It's going to be really, really stupid. Now, all that being said, I'm going to leave you with this. We didn't lose the Senate. We actually gained a few seats in the House. And for the Democrats in the House, even if they have Joe Biden as their president, the checks and balances are still there because we have the Senate. So it's a checkmate, basically. And there's not much that a president can get accomplished, no matter how crazy his vice president is, if he doesn't control the Senate too. We know that. We watched that when they impeached our president in the House. Well, they just pissed up a rope because the Senate shut them down. That's the silver lining at the moment. We can pray that this goes different and that every vote does get counted. And when that is done and the dust settles, Trump will have 270 plus. Time will tell. But we will still go forward doing what we do, being the decent human beings that we are as Republicans and conservatives, treating people with respect and dignity, even though the left treats us like we are the lowest scum on the face of the earth. And you guys know what I'm talking about. I've shared in my community section on YouTube. I've shared on Facebook what they say about me and my family and my special needs son and my wife. I've shared with you how disgusting, how pathetic, how un-American, how unhuman these people are. And I'm not the only one. Many other conservatives and Republicans out there have done the same thing. But it wasn't enough. It probably would have been enough in some cases, had we not being attacked by the liberals that own these social media giants. You know, I looked at my total subscriber list on YouTube and what they're taking away every month from me, unsubscribed people. I know it's happening because you tell me it's happening. You comment that it's happening. Even happens to my own family, and they show me right there on their phone, look, I got unsubscribed again. Let's go back 1 year. If they had not done that to me, my subscriber list right now would be pushing 500,000 people. And I'm just one outspoken voice out there on the conservative side. 500,000. Take away, unsubscribe, hundreds. Over 1,000 a month. Right here. They're not even trying to fucking hide it. I go into analytics and I watch it happen, my friends. So if they silence the voice, just like they interrupt and silence the vote, what are you going to do? What can you do? I've been saying for quite some time, and I will continue to say it, that I hope that somebody out there, some conservative, some Republican, it's a millionaire or billionaire, will step up and help fund some social media sites to blow YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram right out of the freaking water. But that hasn't happened yet. There's a bunch of sites out there. A lot of you have told me to go to it. I have. But they're just not set up to work right. Not for the type message I want to get out there. There's not enough free-flowing things on those websites to make it worth my while. It's very frustrating. You know, BitChute was one that everybody wanted me to go to. So I went to BitChute. I opened an account on BitChute. I upload a video on there and the damn thing's upside down and there's no way to fix it. I mean, shit like that. All right. That just, you know, that doesn't happen on a lot of these other far left liberal sites. But if you're watching me and you can't hear me and the video's cutting in and out and the sound's cutting in and out, then, you know, the hell is just as bad. But, you know, there's little to nothing I can do. Let me refresh this map real quick, see if anything changed. We're still 243 for Biden, 214 for Trump. That being said, I'll tell you what, let's go look at, let's go see how much is changing with some of these other, let's look at CNN. Let's see what they want us to believe right now. Biden eyes 270 as race narrows. And where do we have it right now? Oh, let's see. Well, CNN has it 253 to 213. And CNN, once again, still hasn't called Georgia. They haven't called North Carolina. They haven't called Alaska. They haven't called Nevada. They haven't called New Mexico. Or no, they did call. No, they're saying New Mexico is leaning blue. And what are they doing? They're putting in Wisconsin leaning blue. And right now they're saying that for Wisconsin. Well, fuck it. I'm not going to sit here and scroll through all this. It's just, you should be able to go right there, look at it, click. Okay, there it is. All right. So Wisconsin right now, once again, 49.4% to Trump's 48.8%. And that's electoral votes that we need. And we know there's some shady shit going on up there right now. Michigan, 50.3 to Trump's 48.1. That's 16 electoral votes. Now they're no longer calling that for Biden, but they're saying it's leaning Biden, and Biden's probably going to get it by like maybe at the moment a little over 100,000 votes. Trump's still leading in Pennsylvania, 50.9 to 47.8. North Carolina, 50.1 to 48.6. Georgia, I'll be damned if Georgia isn't getting close now. 49.8 for Trump, 49.0 for Biden. Arizona's got Biden ahead, 50.7 to 47.9. We're still, that's 11 electoral votes right there. And Nevada, they've got Biden ahead, 49.3 to 48.7. So, again, if you go to CNN, you're going to get a different set of numbers. If you go to Yahoo, you're going to get a different set of numbers. If you go look at Facebook, what they're putting out there, it's going to be a different set of numbers. If you look at Fox News, it's going to be a different set of numbers. Let's go look at Fox real quick. They've turned out to be the biggest disappointment ever. Fox is calling Biden 264 to Trump's 214. With Georgia still out, North Carolina still out, Pennsylvania still out, Nevada still out, Alaska still out. They've given Arizona and New Mexico to the Democrats. They've got Nevada leaning Democrat. They've given Wisconsin and Michigan to the Democrats. So, according to Fox, it's over with. According to CNN, it's not quite over with yet. Let's go look at what MSNBC is saying. This reminds me of the whole thing where there's only facts or one way. Okay, there's not two sets of facts. There's only one set of facts. But, not according to this shit. MSNBC, Biden wins Michigan as final state count. And let's see where we got it at. They've got it 253 to 214 as well. But they have Nevada too close to call. 49.3 for Biden, 48.7 for Trump. They've got Arizona still open, 50.7 to 47.9 Biden. They've got Michigan and Minnesota. They've got Michigan and they've got Wisconsin for Biden. Okay, Wisconsin, 99% is in, 49.4 to 48.8. So literally, there's still 1% out there in Wisconsin to be counted. And we're talking 28,000 vote difference for Biden. Fucking recount. That's why Trump sent his lawyers in there. Michigan, a little bit bigger. 50.3 to 48.1, 99% in. North Carolina, we still got Trump ahead. We still got Trump ahead in Georgia, but not by much. Alaska's a landslide for Trump, although it's only 3 electoral votes, and nobody wants to call it. I don't understand. Not that it's going to matter that much at the moment, not for us. Too early to call, according to MSNBC, is Arizona. 50.7, 47.9 with 86% in. Now, guess what? I agree with that with MSNBC right now. Yeah. How in the hell can everybody else be calling Arizona for the Democrats when we're talking about, 1,365,000 for Trump and 1,444,000 for Biden, and there's only 80 6% of the votes counted? Really? And then Nevada, 580,605 for Trump, 588,252 for Biden. So 8,000 difference. And everybody else is calling that. Everybody else is calling that. Even Fox News is calling that for Biden. So, never thought I'd say this. For once in my life, I actually agree with MSNBC right now that you can't do that. You can't. But they are. Everything else was not close. California, it was a blowout. Oregon's a blowout. Maine is a blowout. It's all Biden. We figured out what was going to happen. Colorado, same thing. New Mexico, done. Illinois, done. New York, Maine, none of that's going to matter any damn how. Okay, 96% in Florida with Trump 51.2 to Biden's 47.8. We're looking at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're looking at about 400,000 vote difference. It's already called for Trump. So what's the difference with New Mexico and Colorado? I mean, you know, it is shit that this doesn't make any sense. So don't get discouraged yet. There's still time. We go back to this as a strange situation where they had to count not only the mail-in votes, but they had to count the in-person votes that took place yesterday. They had to count the early votes, that people that went and voted early in person. Again, why didn't those things take place to where at least a week out they can get that counted and only have to count on what's happening with the people that stood in line yesterday? Well, I think you all figured that out by now, why it happens that way. And why at midnight they can just, oh, we're done for the night. We're going to go home and not count anymore. Bullshit. Writing's on the wall, my friends. Again, I'll remind you, regardless of what the outcome of this is, whether it's going to be in the next couple of days or the next couple of months, we still have the greatest country on the planet. We still have the greatest electric, the greatest voting system on the planet compared to other countries. Although we've allowed our voting system to get compromised, just like we did our education system, where we allowed the liberals to infiltrate it and warp the brains of our youth. You know, in 30 years from now, chances are I'm not going to be here and many of you won't either. But that's probably a good thing, because hell, if Biden does win in just 4 years from now, the America you know today will not be the America when they're finished with it. Because, again, I'm telling you, Joe Biden ain't going to be there long. Their whole plan was Camilla. And that's what they want. So I helped in some way clear up this. I hope that those of you that were panicking over the results right now, realize there's still time. Calm down. Let's back up a second. Let's let these votes get counted. And when the votes are all counted, whoever gets 270 gets 270. We can let the attorneys handle it. We can let judges handle it. It may end up going over to the Supreme Court. I don't know. But in the end, we will have a president of the United States, whether it's Trump or it's Joe Biden. The sun will still rise. We'll still be able to carry on. Just their agenda will drastically affect how we see our country and our rights. But until they take the Senate, they can't go very far with anything. And that is the silver lining that you must keep in mind. If Trump concedes tomorrow, let's say, God forbid, nothing the Democrats can do that we hate will happen unless they control the Senate. So when midterms come around, you thought this leading up to this was bad? Folks, you ain't seen nothing yet. They get 1,600 Pennsylvania and the House and the Senate. We're done. Stick a fork in it. Folks, if you haven't already done so, please go over to DouglasDucote.com and sign up with your email address. It's free. It won't cost you anything. That newsletter will be starting up soon. We have a new producer for the Douglas Ducote Show that will slowly get all this taken care of and be able to upload the videos on the website, send out the newsletter, let people know in advance when the show's going to be on, and so forth. There's a lot of good coming from that. We have not signed a contract yet, but I feel confident. I feel confident enough in my conversations, and also the fact that I've known this wonderful woman for over 2 years now. Some of you may remember before the Douglas Ducote Show, I was on a radio blog show on, it was called Real World Witness. The host was Chrissy Piccolo, and I became her co-host. And then when we started up the Douglas Ducote Show, we brought her over with us as assistant producer. And she's been with Team Ducote all along. And we have verbally discussed her taking over producing the show, taking over the website, and everything we do, and getting it back to what you all will remember from 2019 and going back before COVID kicked in, of how well things were operating. Again, we don't have a contract at the moment. We haven't even got to that point, but verbally, it does appear that Chrissy will be taking over that responsibility. And I'm very happy about that. Again, she is a wonderful person that has done outstanding stuff for everything we've done. She's been 100% behind myself, my wife. I'm looking very, very forward to moving forward with Chrissy and building everything back up to where we were before this COVID kicked in and before we ended up parting ways with my former producer. But anyhow, that's it for tonight's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving the United States military, our veterans, our first responders, their families, all those, the men and women in law enforcement that are out there tonight. Man, my heart bleeds for you guys. I used to be one of you. In my heart, I still am. What you've had to endure and what you're still putting up with is just wrong. Please pray for them. Please pray for our angel families, those that have lost loved ones to illegal aliens. And God forbid, I feel so sorry for them in the event Biden wins. I mean, it's like losing a loved one all over again because of what's going to happen on the border. Please say a prayer for our Blue and Gold Star families, our president, and our country. And remember, regardless of the outcome of this election, we are better than what we have seen from the Democrats and the liberals over the past 3.5, almost 4 years now. They loot, they destroy shit, they riot. We don't do that. But when push comes to shove, and if it does come to that, we will mop the fucking floor with them. And let's pray that we don't ever get there. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you. Hope you all have a wonderful night. And I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.